I'm your host, Ayushi, a fellow IIM Indore alumni. I'm thrilled to be conducting this, bringing together our community of alums and aspirants together. Our podcast will focus on stories, experiences, and insights from distinguished alumni, industry leaders, and experts. Whether you are an IIM aspirant or a seasoned profession, the goal is to provide you with valuable insight, tips, and strategies and have some fun. So, without further ado, let's dive in. I'm very excited to welcome our guest for the day, Garima Mamgain. Please introduce yourself, indicating any expertise or experience that you feel is relevant to the topic that we are going to discuss going forward.
Sure thing. So I'm Garima and I stay in Singapore. I cleared my IIM in 2010. That seems like ages ago now, almost a lifetime ago. Ever since then, I've largely been in marketing. I've handled both business and consumer brands, uh, Porsche and Audi at Volkswagen Group. Then Nokia, Caterpillar. Currently, I lead B2B marketing at 3M Asia Pacific for transportation segment. That's what I do. And the one thing that I wanted to add to all of this is I love what I do. So I love marketing and, even in my free time, I listen to tons of podcasts. I read a lot. I always want to stay on top of what I'm doing right now because I just love it. If you're even interested in marketing, please reach out to me. I absolutely love having discussions around this entire industry and topics around it.
Oh, wow. I am so glad to learn that you are in marketing. I am also in marketing. I am in the B2B marketing space. So,
Awesome.
extremely excited to even interview you further. If I ask you about your greatest success or proudest moment, what will that be? And what skills, qualities, circumstances enabled it?
Okay. So, the proudest moment for me actually came ages ago. Ages. I was barely out of engineering, and my first job was to code. So I started my career as a coder, as a developer. And the first role that I got was to code National Electronic Fund Transfer Mechanism for
Wow.
State Bank of India. I know, right? That time, most money transfers would happen via checks. It would take 4 to 5 days. So, this RBI sort of had mandated that we need to start developing NEFT. As a fresh graduate, it was a lot to take in, right? I had to develop something which was never made before. I had to make it efficient because this is SBI. If it takes too long, it's probably not going to work. I mean, the scale of SBI itself, and so it was quite a learning curve for me. I tried to figure out how can I use the current systems, how can I mimic it, how can I make it faster, etc. So a lot of high level thinking and bringing it into reality. So long story short, it took me around 2.5 months of non-stop coding to finally have a product. Of course, I had a lot of help from testers and many other coders who were already working on similar solutions. But yeah, so 2.5 months is what it took me to come up with the first NEFT product in India. And it's been ages now, and I'm sure that code has been gone through a lot of changes now. But the very fact that I created something out of nothing, out of midair,
Yeah.
right? I love that about coding. It gives you a kick. Whenever I see someone saying, "Okay, we offer NEFT," I know now it's a given, but for a long time it used to be a unique selling point for a lot of banks. It used to make me feel very proud because I know the first person on that list of developers in that code is probably going to be me.
Wow.
So it gives me a lot of, it's a source of joy and pride for me. Yeah, we say, let's learn coding. But actually coding is nothing more. Actually coding is more or less problem solving. So you look at a problem, you figure out, how can I solve this? And sometimes you don't even know the solution when you start coding. But by the time you're midway through, you will find a solution. And I feel that entire problem solving skill, it's not just for coders, it's for whatever skill set you want to choose in life. And I wish we were able to communicate that. So, just the joy of coding itself, I think is super important. Just the joy of learning how to use those products, how to solve problems is far more important than, developing an app and trying to make money out of it. I think just the joy of that process, it gave me so much joy and so much growth as an individual. And I hope more and more girls go that path.
So, next question. Have you done something out of the box or personally enriching beyond the career, business, money construct? What did you do and how?
Okay. So for me, I think I once had this crazy idea of, I worked with a friend of mine, and we decided that, you know what, we are going to start a side hustle and we are going to make this discovery platform for fashion brands.
Wow.
We all know H&M, Uniqlo, etc., but
Yeah.
you don't know the under the radar fashion brand. So let's
Yeah.
make a TripAdvisor for fashion brands. So it was pretty much, the one thing that we wanted to make. And I and my friends spent a lot of time thinking about how we're going to do it, how we're going to solve the problems. We met a lot of women, we asked a lot of questions, we conducted surveys, we made wireframes. So a lot of excitement around building something of our own. And then and that was something where I felt like my understanding of how marketing runs for a small business, or how do you develop a product, it went up exponentially. I
Yeah.
completely enjoyed that entire problem solving aspect of it. Uh, Ultimately, we had to pull the plug because I think discovery is actually one of the first ideas that comes to everybody's mind, and then it's not so easy to scale, etc. So
Yeah.
finally, I ended up pulling the plug to say, it's probably not going to grow beyond what it already is. And but no regrets. I think I learned so
Yeah.
much out of that entire process. It was completely crazy. I
Yeah.
never thought that when I started it, I never thought of where it's going to go, but I enjoyed that process so much that, you know a lot of what I do right now, even in my own job, in terms of running experiments and etc., a lot of it comes from setting up my own stuff, trying my own way, and then failing.
Yeah.
So that was an experiment. And then I think ever since then, I've decided that I'm always going to do something on the side, my own project, even if it's not as big as, creating a full new website and a platform. So, for example, I've just started a newsletter this year. So I keep challenging myself. And all of that probably just comes because, I dug in deep and tried to build something of my own and failed.
Wow. Uh, Tell us about your toughest struggle or failure in life or career. What did you learn from that experience?
Okay. So my biggest uh, the toughest time that I've had recently that I can remember of is moving countries. So whenever we move countries, there is a lot of change that comes along, and I had to move to Singapore around 4.5, 5 years ago. And I was in the automotive industry in India doing super well. The IM tag goes a long way in India as
Yeah.
well. So there's never a need to form a network, and super comfortable with what I was doing, honestly. And then we moved to Singapore, and I had to, for the first time, struggle to find what I'm going to do next. What kind
Yeah.
of job can I do? Who's going to hire me? What have I done to develop my network? How can,
Yeah.
if I've not done much, how can I do it? How can I be seen more? So it was an extremely challenging time for me personally. And it also taught me a lot of lessons. So it took me almost 5 months and a lot of hustle, a lot of meeting new people, asking for references and references from references to land a job. And finally, I
Yeah.
did land a job after 5 months. And
Wow.
what I learned out of that was really that, one, if today someone reaches out to me and says that I'm new to Singapore and I'm going through, I'm trying to search for a job, whether I can immediately help or not, I definitely go and meet that person. So I think there is a lot of empathy that I've developed now for this difficult, challenging period that people go through when they change countries, and I try my best to be present and at least give that a hearing. So I think that's one. And second is I finally understood the importance of networking the hard way. So, I now make an effort to keep meeting people, even if I'm not looking for a job. Nothing. There is no particular reason for it, but just growing that network is so important. Especially once the cushion or the cocoon of that I am provides you, you're out of that cushion and cocoon. You need to go and develop that network.
You're back to square one, right? In India, you have your branding basically. Once you graduate, you carry the tag. It of course opens up a lot of avenues, but in Singapore, nobody knows the IM community. Hopefully, after this, they will. But
Yeah, a few
I
people
agree.
do
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, but
yeah,
but not as much. And I feel like now it's so easy. It's easier than ever to build a brand which is not geographically, sort of curtailed. I mean, that's when I sort of started picking up a little bit on LinkedIn. How do I make myself be more present, be more seen, be more remembered? And I feel like now we have so many digital tools that nothing but yourself is stopping you from
yes,
developing that
actually.
brand.
I agree. I definitely agree. And especially moving countries is insane because I moved here 5 months back and I thought, okay, I'm a Gen Y. It's okay. Google is there. Everything is there at the click. I don't need to worry about anything. But when I moved, I was like, oh my God, what is this roller coaster?
There you go. Yeah, and I moved here when my daughter was just 3, so there was a lot of
Oh,
change, not just my professional side, but also my personal side. So
I'm intrigued to ask, how do you feel your journey was like as a female, a young mother, moving countries? What were the hardships that you think you faced that a man probably wouldn't face? And how did you combat them?
I guess there's a lot of sacrifice. I'm not going to sort of sugarcoat it. As a woman, as a mother, you have to make a lot of sacrifices when people are able to sort of be geographically mobile. Sometimes you're not, because there are many other considerations, etc. But I think having a supportive partner. My husband is very supportive of what I want to do in my career wise. I think that helps a lot. And secondly, everyone has a different timeline. Like I said, I'm chasing satisfaction over success, and for me this entire, how I define success is slightly different from how someone else may define it. Obviously we are all going to have different definitions, and the joy that I get out of shutting my laptop at a certain time, spending my time with my daughter, and then probably turning it on after she's gone to sleep, that's unmatchable. No job in the world can give me that satisfaction that I get out of that experiences. So I try and find the balance between my personal aspirations and also the joy that I get by living in the moment with my family. I think I want to, and I cherish it. I think we always talk about the sacrifices women make, but we also get a lot more love. And I think also for me, I have always been lucky to have a lot of good, strong female mentors in my life, and they've always told me to sort of choose and prioritize what really matters to me, and try and delegate as much as I can. And so I have always sought help as much as possible. I try and not be very particular about everything. I know there are a few things that matter to me, and everything else I'm in the zone of satisfaction. It's satisficing. That's what I do. So long as something is good enough, I'm okay with it. There are only few things that I want to sort of maximize my returns on investment on, but for the rest, satisficing is good enough for me. So I decide there is a benchmark. It meets it. I'm okay. Let's move ahead. So I think that helps a lot. It clears up a lot of your bandwidth to do things that you truly want to prioritize. So I think that makes a lot of difference. I recently read this book. How can she have it all, or how can she have it all? Super interesting, and I would recommend any working mother to sort of go ahead and read it, because it taught me a lot about, actually we have a lot more free time than we think we do, and if you want to make more time, then how do you make it? That book sort of gives a lot of actionable
Wow.
insights into it.
Anything you'd want to share that you read and are implementing?
Yeah, so I've started doing a lot of delegation. There's a lot of guilt around, should I be dropping my daughter to school? Should I
Ah,
be cooking on my own, once a week, twice a week? And I
yeah,
realized those things really, they don't make a difference. So if the house is not
yeah,
clean in the evening, I'm okay with that
yeah.
now, because
Yes.
because I know that is probably not as important as me doing my writing stuff, or doing my reading stuff, or playing with my daughter. So a lot of things that I've started heavily prioritizing, purely because it frees up my time.
Right. No, rightly, actually, there's so much pressure. There is a social conditioning that you must cook, you must clean. Then, of course, your time's going to get blocked up, right? So, yeah, I think all of it is a lot more mental that you
Yeah,
need
it's
to
it's a
start.
lot. It's self-inflicted. Honestly, I tell a
Yeah.
lot of people a lot of times I'm not good at this. So even
Yeah.
if you pay me, I can't do this. So let's just get help when we can.
That's the easiest way of saying I can't do this. Sorry, money's not going to make me do it. Nice one. Okay. So, based on everything that we've discussed and all the experiences that you've shared and your tricks and tips of navigating through life, are there any recommendations if I had to do it again, or caveats, or watch outs?
I'm pretty sure the audiences are very well educated, well thought out. A few things that I have learned. One is, all of us are in sales. So all of us are always selling, negotiating.
Agree.
I can say I'm a marketer, but really I'm in sales. All of us are selling something. So the
Definitely.
sooner you learn about how to sell well and how to negotiate well, you're going to do much, much better than whatever you're doing, you'll do it like, 10x better. So
Yeah,
start selling as soon
I
as you
agree.
can. And then I think the next one is ask the tough questions. I feel like a lot of times we don't want to ask questions because we feel like, what will people think about me? And,
Yeah.
and and I feel like the more I have given myself the ability to look stupid and ask that question, the more I have learned and probably contributed a little bit better. So
Yeah,
I feel that asking a question, it takes a little bit of bravery and courage and maybe vulnerability.
actually a
But,
lot.
and I also feel like we should be very comfortable. There's nothing which is going to be certain in life, right? So we are not working in a world of certainties. We are always, the kind of jobs we'll have, the kind of life we'll have, everything will work on probabilities. And
Yes.
being able
Wow.
to be comfortable that,
Yeah.
you can plan whatever, but everything is a probability. Even 99% means there's a 1% chance it might not happen. And you have to be mentally brave to accept when the good stuff comes, and also be ready when the bad stuff hits you and the probability is
Yeah.
not on your side. You should be brave enough to face the consequences of that as well. So those are my three big gyan, if that
We love
makes
your
sense.
GAN, especially the one that you said we are not working on certainties, we are working on probabilities. I think everybody, whether they are an IM aspirant or not, are going to relate to it. So now, the very last question. So, anything else that you'd like to share for an IM alumni or aspirant, and also like alum and aspirant? What are your golden nuggets?
Gyan again. Okay, so
Yes.
I would say, if I look at my current batch, we have a WhatsApp group, and often one of our batchmates would they would raise a funding, next round of funding, or sort of some big achievements, and you all get together and congratulate each other. Uh, all of us have had very different and unique paths. So, and in college, all of us started with thinking about how we want to go with our careers very differently. I'm sure a lot of us didn't think that this is the path we would take. And yet here we are, all of us in the batch doing different things. Some are in, AI, ML, some are marketeers like me, others are running their own business. So I think success can take many forms. It's not linear at all. And accepting this diversity, and just choosing what works for you, what makes you happy in the next step, I think that is super important. So just success could look like many different things, and it doesn't have to be that one thing that you sort of whatever you thought would success look like and what it means to you, that is going to keep changing. And also, what there are many ways to make a good dish, many different recipes, and same way there are many different ways to have a good life. So
Agree.
stop, don't compare yourself, or don't think that this is how I planned it, this is how it's turned out to be. It's always going to be that way.
Yeah. Agree. I just have one follow-up question. Since you said the definition of success keeps changing, and when you graduate from an IM, the avenues are a lot more wider. But there's also certain kind of pressure, which I will obviously call it a first world problem. But that there is this pressure that you're from this college, so you must know this. So, have you faced that? And how did you combat that?
I think my first role out of the IIM campus itself was with Nokia, and I was made the area sales manager for rural Tamil Nadu.
Oh,
So
wow.
upcountry Tamil Nadu, I can't speak Tamil. Okay, so
Yeah.
and I was a area sales manager, and I had to, and in my first day of staying at a hotel in Villapuram, I got a love letter along with the newspaper. So you get a lot of these experiences, and you realize that I did so much of this MBA stuff to do sales in a place where
Yeah.
people don't even understand what language I'm speaking. These
Yeah.
are all humbling experiences which teach you a lot about the fact that you don't know it all. The real world is very, very different.
Of course.
And you've learned how to succeed in a rule-based system, which is IIM. So you know exactly, you study, you get this CGP, and you succeed. But in
Yeah.
real life, there are no rules. So
Of course.
I think that really is a humbling process. And I feel like luck and timing plays such a big role in success in life, or in defining how your careers work out to be. And
Yeah.
you have zero control over luck. You have a little bit of control over luck, but timing absolutely maybe not, right?
Yes.
So I would say really you keep accepting these humbling experiences. They feel very bad in the short term, but in the long term, when I look back, those are career forming and
Yes.
and also character forming. So yeah, so I think you will never know 100%, and yeah, there is a lot of pressure, but that pressure dies down after a few years. Like, no one right now asks me which I'm from, but because it matters more what I know and what I can do
Yes.
than where I'm from. So
Yeah.
3-4 years down your career, very few people are going to turn up and ask you which college you went to. It
Agree.
stops mattering lesser and lesser.
Okay. Yeah. That's something I'll keep in mind. Thank you. And I had a very fun time.
Me too, Aisha. It was lovely talking to you.